Welcome back to Fireside Frith, where the flame never dies, a hearth for Norse pagans and the curious alike. From the old sagas and gods to modern practice and community, I'm Suzannah, a kindred leader and local Githia, here to share stories, wisdom, and real talk about living our path today. Whether you're a longtime heathen or just curious about Norse spirituality, you're in the right place. This is part 2 of my interview, and today we're diving into the committees I've helped build within the Asatru community. And for this episode, I'm again handing the host chair over to my good friend David Bouse. Let's get right into it.
So you had mentioned earlier committees that you have started, and with us and the board, there's volunteer for these committees and So my question is, you formed recently 2 new committees to help carry the board's workload, which much appreciated. So what needs were these committees created to address?
If you guys are in the Asatru Community's Facebook group, you have seen all of our new chats. The education committee, a lot of people think that this is where they can get educated. That is not the case. I created the education committee and the academic committee, which I know they sound like the same thing. Academic committee is members of our board who are teaching, who are creating courses. If you have something to bring to the table, you can also be on that committee. You don't have to be a board member to be an educator. You have to be experienced. We might have to do an interview, but there's something to be said about it. Could also be like basic rituals by member of TAC. Obviously, that's going to be your version of it, and that's okay. So I call it ACOM, which is Academic Committee. That's our instructors creating the course. And then we have the Education Committee, which has now split off into 2 different branches. So 3 committees now. The first one is EdCom Internal. So Education Committee Internal, what we do is, so I'm in the committee because I give people assignments. Basically, every time I finish a module for the ambassador training course, or Corey is working on Asatru Fundamentals, anytime we finish a module, I send it to EdCom Internal. And by internal, we mean it is for TAC by TAC members. And they review it. They tell me if the punctuation sucks, if I didn't explain something well enough, or sometimes they tell me that my font changed color or whatever and that it looks stupid. And that's okay, because I don't have a degree in education. Like I said, the course that I'm making, the ambassador training course, is all on my experience as a leader. And so it's basically leadership 101. With Corey, her style is a little different. I still send her stuff there when it's Asatru Fundamentals. When it comes to the clergy training program, the only people we want that reviewed by is either other board members or clergy members, because they're already certified. It doesn't make sense to have someone who might be new to the faith to review a clergy training course module.
Right.
And what I've done with EdCom Internal is I have people from varying experiences, people with degrees, people that don't have degrees, because I want to make sure I get the opinions of people from every level to make sure that it's understandable for every education level, because you don't need a degree to be a leader. Does it help? Sure, maybe with public speaking and writing, but other than that, it just depends on the degree, honestly. So that's EdCom Internal. EdCom External is kind of the same thing, except they're reviewing stuff that nobody in TAC made. And I give them stuff and I'm like, hey, this is a free class from Harvard. Will you review it and tell me if it's relevant to TAC? And if it is, then sure, we don't have a license or relationship with Harvard, but we could put a link to it on our website that says, these are helpful courses that are from the outside. And then it's a public speaking course. It's free at Harvard. If you just look up public speaking on their free courses, I think it's valuable. I'll say that right now. I think it's valuable to ambassadors, DRGLs, to anyone in clergy. It's valuable to have public speaking skills, and especially having a free course from a college like Harvard.
Yeah.
That course, I think if you want the certification for it, it costs like too much money, but it's valuable.
No, definitely it's valuable. If you can't find free courses anywhere else, at least I love that TAC puts things together like that to where I don't have to go searching. If I have a question, I can go into TAC, and I would say 9 times out of 10, it's answered right there. There's something there. which 9 times out of 10, Suzannah has done it for you. So you're good.
Yeah. And it's either, and if it's coming from me, it's probably been vetted by one of my committees. So I have 3 education committees, people reviewing internal, external, and then the educators. And if you want to volunteer for any of those 3 things, that would help me out so much, because I can't review all the external stuff if I'm also creating courses. I'm not out of the military yet, so I don't have unlimited free time.
Close. You're there. You're almost there.
Very close. Yes.
And at the end of this, I'm sure you'll give out your contact information just in case.
Oh, absolutely.
Anybody will wait till the end to do the contact information and whatnot, but definitely reach out to Suzannah. She's going to answer all of your questions, and if she can't answer them, she will definitely find you the answer. So I don't know why she didn't go warrant officer, but that's fine.
I should have.
You should have. I'm telling you, you should have.
Dang.
Now that you've, and you can always come back. You can always come back. I don't know if you can or not, but there's always the option there.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. So, okay, you've created these committees. You've talked about EdCom, and what was the other one you called?
So there's EdCom, and then there's ACOM. You are in ACOM. What are you talking about?
I know. Listen, I've been sick for like the past 2 weeks. My brain is all scrambled. I've been putting it on mute so I can cough so you don't hear my coughs.
Oh.
Yeah, so but
poor thing.
I know, it's fine. I
just have a hot toddy and you'll feel better.
I'm trying. I'm getting there. So, but either way, it's just not going away. But it's lingering is what it's doing. Yes, you got EdCom and ACOM. So now that you've created these committees, how do you see the committee work that's being done right now benefiting the long-term health of the organization, which is TAC?
So what I love about it is that I don't have to pester the board to be like, hey, do you guys want to look at my slideshow?
We love it.
Yeah. I don't have to be like, do you look at my slideshow and tell me if it sucks? And I don't have to worry about that. One of the guys in EdCom Internal, he's like, oh, this is my job in the Air Force. Like, I review education material and I make sure it's good. And he's like, this is what I do. I was like, do you want editor status? I'll give it. He's been such a help. He's great. I love having him on my team. Everybody in EdCom Internal has been helpful with their comments. And when they were like, I'm so sorry if I'm being too nitpicky. I'm like, no, this is perfect. Right. I'd rather have this nitpicky than having the board's nitpicky. No offense, guys. I love you all. But why bother with that if you know the material's good? Obviously, once the course is live, I think it should be live to just the board to like vet the whole course. But there's no sense in bothering you guys with little things like punctuation, or the title is a different size font than on the next slide. Right. Stuff like that it's minimal. It's not worth your time. As board members, we are heads of departments. We got other things to worry about. And no one told me to do the ambassador program. That was just something that when I came back from basic and AIT, I was like, hey, I'm back. Where's the ambassador people? And they were like, it's not, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but it does not exist anymore. And I was like, why? And they were like, well, we kind of fell apart. And I was like, why? I was annoying about it. Do you need more board members? What can I do to help? I think I was kind of annoying because, I don't know, Corey would be like, let me explain this. And I was like, okay, so I'll just send in my resume. What do you want? Like, right. I could be anything. I'm a chameleon. And here we are.
So definitely not annoying. It's not. I don't see it as that. I see it as, like you said, I don't know if you've ever, how many cats do you have? So it's like herding cats. I don't know if you've ever heard the term, but how do you herd cats? And Suzannah does an amazing job at it because she probably has like 10 or 20 cats there. I don't know. So
I have 5.
5 cats. There you go. I have the experience of herding cats.
Yes.
Which really helps with board members because that's what we are. We're literally cats. So we're just like, what's going on over here? They're like, no. Here, we're doing this now. I'm like, all right, let's
after
focus.
Every board meeting, I give homework to everyone, and there's certain people I say everyone. I try to never give David Nix homework because he needs an award. He's been a board member for so long, and I give a lot of homework to Corey. Whoops. And with Drew, he's self-sufficient. I'm just like, you just do what you want to do. And then I give you homework.
Yep.
Sorry.
Nope, you're good. I enjoy it.
And Jamin, he's also so busy that I try not to give him any homework, but occasionally he gets homework. But I do that so that we can stay on task, because it's like, okay, we had this board meeting and now I have to read through all these minutes to remember what I have to do after the meeting before our next meeting. So what? So instead of doing that at the end of our board meeting minutes, I always put the homework, like, hey guys, this is everything that needs to be done. It's like name, list of items. That way.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I do.
We all have ADHD.
We do.
We all do really bad.
Which I take the board minutes and I screenshot where my name is. I'm like, okay, boop. And I make sure to put that somewhere to where I'm like, all right, I gotta remember to do that.
Yes.
So yes. It's much appreciated on this side of things that I have to do. So,
yeah.
Because I try to do the Military Monday thing, but even yesterday I was like with being sick, and I think I've skipped on a couple Mondays here, which honestly, I have no idea what day of the week it is half the time. I had leave days to burn. I get the next 2 months off. So I have no idea what day it is most of the time. I wake up every day and I'm all like, it's a new day. I don't know what day, but it's a new day. Pretty much. Exactly. I only know because I get notifications when my favorite podcasts come out. So I have one that comes out on Monday, one that comes out on Wednesday, and then our podcast comes out on Fridays. And there you go. See, so you have little markers. Which is good. Yeah. So I get totally confused. So like total 100% forgiveness for you missing Military Mondays. I have another one for you, but I haven't sent it to you yet. But you got to do that. Yeah, I know. If you send it to me, like, this is the perfect time while I'm on leave. I know. I get it. I get it too. I've been like dying in my bed, so I was like, and now we got this big trip coming with 4th of July. Once 4th of July is over, I'll get back into everything that I'm supposed to get back into. You know, honestly, July is a really hard month. Mm-hmm. July is very busy between the holiday, and one thing we haven't talked about on this podcast is I'm also involved with LARP, because that's the where you like fight each other, right? Sword fight with foam sticks and stuff like that. There you go. And so I am one of the 3 people in charge. We have 3 pillars of leadership that are running a 300+ person event in 2 weeks. Nice. I'm not drowning. The video now, like literally, like the water's right here, and you're like, yeah, I'm just like, help. Well, yeah. So this has been interesting to say the least, because I'm on the other side of this, and you usually do all of the interviews. So It was when you had asked everybody who would do the interview and nobody chimed in, and I was like, I'll do it. And you're like, you're done. You're going to do it. I'm like, all right, okay, here we go. So you're the first to speak up. Thank you for volunteering. Well, I didn't see anybody volunteer. I waited too. I was all like, we'll see if anybody else says, yeah, they'll do it. I didn't see anybody come up. I was like, I'll do it. That's fine. I got it. Well, on that note, you were the one that created the Fireside Firth, which I know I appreciate it. I don't know how many other people in TAC appreciate it, but I know I enjoy it, and I watch all of them every time they come out. Yes. And you do an amazing job at it. Thank you. So what inspired you to launch this? What was the start of this whole thing? Okay, so my kindred brother from years and years ago, I bullied him into joining the army, so he can't do podcasts with me right now. But we had a Norse Pagan podcast back in the day, and we have a few episodes that are still on the internet. I think they're on Spotify, actually. The dark web. It's called the Pagan Pie Podcast, and it was just him and me just getting really drunk and talking about paganism. And that was when podcasting was fairly new, and we didn't have the right equipment, and it wasn't super professional, and I liked doing the podcast, but I think we had too broad of an idea, and I knew I wanted to do another podcast one day, but I didn't want it to be just me, you know? And so
when the board and I had this discussion, I'm sure you might remember, they were like, well, why don't you have a podcast that we just shared a TAC? I'm like, no, it has to be a TAC podcast, because if it's a TAC podcast, that means it's to feed into TAC. Like it's to help TAC members.
Right.
And sure, it can help a broader community, which I agree with. But I was like, no, I think TAC should own the podcast, because if we get to the point where we can monetize, that goes to TAC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be a professional podcaster, but I will volunteer my time and efforts to doing this for TAC, because I believe in the greater picture. But what inspired me, not only had I had that experience before, but if we're so focused on education, we can take every single course that we have and do a podcast episode on it, but not do everything. That way they still go to do the courses, become a charter member, get the tools. Because in the podcast, you're not going to get the same things. If I were to just do a whole podcast on the ambassador training course, you're not going to get those resources that are in the drive, the outlines of how to run a discussion group or how to run a book club, like how to stay on top, those things. We can talk about them, but they're going to be pre-written down. You don't have to take notes. We listen to a podcast. If you have to take notes, that takes the fun out of it. I like this to be more like a conversation with TAC members, because that was something I missed back in the day when we did the ambassador groups. And we'd all talk together. And like I said, I'd never talked. I was too shy and scared because you guys look like you know what you're doing. I'm a new guy. But with the podcast, I like it to feel like we're hanging out. I wish more people would comment. On Spotify, you can leave comments. Then we can have a full conversation.
Right.
And who knows, that can inspire another episode.
Mm-hmm.
And since opening up those chats on the Facebook group, what are you doing? Sorry, my cat is pushing things off the bed in natural cat fashion. Anyway, I had a hard time meeting other pagans wherever I was, or Norse pagans specifically. And I'm really lucky here in El Paso because our director of religious affairs, Drew,
Mm-hmm.
he was the leader of the group here. And they have a group that's been around for 14 years. And now that I'm the leader of the group, and Drew and I are like joint leaders of our group, it's really cool because we get ideas of things to talk about on the podcast. And I have a plethora of ideas. Some of them require research because it might be something that I don't expertise in or whatever.
Right.
But it's really cool to be able to share this saga of TAC, the Meet the Board episodes. What inspired those specifically is that transparency between the community and us of what happened, why it's different now, and how it's better now.
Yeah.
And everybody on our board wants this to be better for the members, not for ourselves. I think we mentioned this in both your episode and the other, David. It's about planting those seeds. It's about that growth. We may not see it as board members come to fruition, but having that transparency, because we had a lot of people in TAC leave back in 20-something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was on a hiatus at the time, and I joined the military, and I was not hanging out with TAC things at all. It is important to share that story, because even the bad parts, if we just pretend it never happened, then people are going to have a bad taste in their mouth about TAC.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it on Reddit, because I looked up TAC on Reddit before I sent my resume. And I was like, why are people saying these horrible things? And I point blank asked Corey about it in the interview, and she explained it in a way that I was like, okay, I trust you, and I'm in it for the long haul. Like, I care about this community and its mission. And so the inspiration for the podcast really came from wanting to tell, like I said, the saga of TAC, why we are where we are. But where I'd like it to grow into is where we have a board chat that's only one episode a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we owe it to the community to have the transparency, the interview with all of the current members of the board. I think we owe it to them to explain, hey, this is what happened, this is where we are, and this is where we're going, and it's awesome. Not the bad parts. That wasn't awesome, but how we're healing from it and growing from it is awesome.
And like I said before, the bad parts is where we learn, right? Through adversity, we learn and we grow. With no adversity, we don't grow. So we have grown into who we are today.
The only thing that's guaranteed in life is bad stuff.
Well, change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's inevitable. It's unavoidable. Bad stuff will happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about what happens. It's how you deal with it and what choices you make coming out of it. Do you succumb to the negativity or do you rise above it? And that's been a philosophy that's helped me get through the darkest of days. We'll say that.
So you're going to fly out to Reno and you're going to teach my next course with me. Much appreciated.
Why not?
You should.
Okay.
Just get all those military people in a room and just talk that. And I guarantee you they'll, like, a lot of people listen. They do. They hear it and they want to make those changes. So, and we don't do it in uniform ever. It's always just civilian clothes.
Even better.
Yep. It's not a military course. It's just, hey, we're just talking. That's it. Make it as easy as possible. So going into that, I know storytelling is a big thing. So what role do you think storytelling and communication, and I know communication is massive, especially when it comes to board member to board member to TAC, TAC members to TAC members, like where does that like play a role in the community building, especially in the spiritual organization? I always say spiritual because I want to keep it spiritual. I don't want to keep it political. I don't want to do anything else. It's about the spiritual organization. So please. So
the importance of communication is, it's everything. You know, you hear the cliche things like the secret to a happy marriage is communication. Well, no, that's just every relationship in your freaking life. Let me tell you, it's with your boss. If you're in the military, your first line, your NCO or your commander, you know, unless you're David and you are your own boss. And
I'm glad you called Dave Nix like David too. Like he should always be the other David. So sorry, Dave Nix. Love you, brother.
When I'm in the podcast with him, you're other David.
I know.
So yeah, the main thing is that communication is so important with every relationship in your life, and that goes from a kid to your boss, any kind of anything. And people reach out to the community and they're always like, hey, I need someone to talk to me about XYZ because I don't know XYZ. I know ZYX or whatever. Okay. And but those are the threads that I see the least amount of stuff on. And so sometimes if it's something as simple as a book list, I try to link in Corey because she has the book list. I have access to it. I can't remember where it is. We have too many files.
We have a lot. Yes.
And that's on me. So I will work on that. But when it comes to other stuff, I'll use an example from my own local group. They came to me and they were like, I won't say who it is or whatever, because they listen to this podcast and I love them dearly. And they know that, I hope. Anyways, they came to me and they were like, hey, I have a family member that was really close to me. They raised me and they didn't have a funeral. And I'd like to have a funeral for them. Can we do that? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. But that thing with communication, have I ever done a funeral for someone who I didn't know? No. So is that scary for me? Yeah, because I want to do her family member justice.
Right.
But also encouraging them, as this is a practice that involves ancestor veneration. Communication it doesn't stop at the physical level. And this spirituality, it expands beyond the time and space that we can humanly conceive. Communication is not just important in our physical relationships, but everything beyond that. How we connect with nature, how we connect with each other, how we connect with our ancestors. And it sucks when you're bad at communication, because if you're bad at communication in real life, I say real life, it's all real, but in human connections, you struggle in the spiritual realm too.
Right.
It's something they don't tell you.
Right.
I used to be very bad at communication, and it was all me, I. And I wasn't a selfish person, but I came off that way, and it really affected my relationships poorly. And everyone was like, well, you're just a cult leader. You're just a diva. You're just this. You're just that. And I'm like, that's not the case. And so I had to change the way I did things, and I had to take some classes on communication. And when I say classes, I mean therapy. I had to go to therapy to learn how to communicate better, because I'm like, so I'm showing this, I'm presenting this, but this is what I mean. Why aren't people understanding me? And if you want people to understand where you're coming from, your true like heart of hearts, where you're coming from, you have to be able to communicate. And sometimes it is hard. And learning how to communicate usually is therapy, self-reflection, reading books, like self-help books, things that are not inherently pagan, not inherently spiritual, but they become spiritual because you learn how to broaden your vocabulary, how to broaden the way you treat yourself and treat others. I don't know if I answered the question. Sorry.
Oh, you did. I mean, it's about like, it's communication. So where you went with the communication portion of it, you decided to do self-education. It was brought to my attention that when I communicate with people, more of the selfish part of things, where I need to more think of others. So when you had that, you decided to do some self-education, whether it be take a class, read a book, get peer reviews on things, anything, whether it be writing or talking to somebody just like we are now, you get that feedback. And the best thing is you've learned from it. And there's a book called Atomic Habits. And
yes,
Atomic Habits,
great book.
I love that book. Even getting rid of a habit is hard, but starting a new habit is also just as hard. Can you do them simultaneously, or do you have to do one and then the other? And this book really gets into how to get rid of those atomic habits, which, you know, I wouldn't say this. If you think of yourself as a selfish person, it's not atomic. But if you're striving to be better because it's been said that you are maybe selfish, then you've done that homework. You've done the work, which I think everybody that watches this needs to know that Suzannah has done the work. She has put in the time for self-work. You have done the self-work in order to be a better person, to give to the community of TAC and other communities, and of course, you know, your own Firth and everything else. Everything that you have in life, you've given now. What you've learned, you're able to give back. And I don't see you that often, but when I do, it's good stuff. So it's like I see the work. I didn't know you beforehand, but I'm glad I'm here afterwards. So yeah. I'm glad I'm able to reap the benefits of all the work that you did put in.
Yeah, and I will say this. If people give you negative feedback, it's not always easy. The work that I have put in, I've literally lost friendships, relationships with people who I thought were my one and only, you know? I went through a phase where I hated men, and I was like, I'm not dating. And then I met my husband, and happily ever after or whatever. But even us, like when we're together and people see us, everybody thinks it's perfect, but it took learning so much about each other and really stopping and being vulnerable and saying, hey, what you said sounded really messed up. Do you feel that way? Because that's how it came across us. And what I want to encourage people is, as you get better at communicating, whether it be for public speaking, for like a clergy member or an ambassador type person. I can't say an ambassador yet because the training is not live, but
it will be soon.
Yeah, soon.
September, October?
By Halloween, by the end of October. So what I will say is that sometimes when you learn these things about yourself, because I'll tell a quick little side story. One time I said something and it sounded like a way that my husband has been talked to by someone in his life who wasn't actually asking the question. They were saying, are you stupid? And the question was, what were you thinking? And that can come across as, are you stupid? Not just are you stupid, are you effing stupid? And so we had to have a conversation about that, where he was like, do you think I'm dumb? Point blank. And so it's funny that you say that I'm emotionally mature. Sure, with other people. But with my husband, I'm sitting here like, I would never want to hurt your feelings. And I like start crying. And I'm like, no, don't feel bad for me. Because he started feeling bad for telling me something was wrong. I was like, no, don't feel bad. I feel like a bad person. That's why I'm crying. Because like, I care so much about you. I don't want you to feel like I'm ever calling you stupid. Because I wouldn't have married you if you were stupid. And he listens to this, so he's probably going to crack up at this, or he's going to be like texting me, why did you say this? Whatever. But anyway, so like sometimes growth is ugly. And it takes getting your feelings hurt to grow into that. And like I said, I've lost relationships. My best friend for years, we did not communicate properly. We were really great when we were in our 20s and we were out drinking. You know, we were really great when shit hits the fan and we needed to be there for each other. Absolutely.
When feces hits the oscillator.
Yeah.
See, that's part of when I have to speak. I'm like, I don't want to say like the word shit. So I'm like, when feces hits the oscillator. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. That's another thing about the Fireside Frith. We're a little raw here.
We are.
I haven't crowed out or bleeped out any cuss words yet.
Nope.
On podcasts. So actually, but we also don't advertise it as being for kids or family friendly. But it's like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, if you
Let's
guys
just meet
think
the
that
board.
this should, yeah, it's just meet the board. I'm sorry, I'm raw, but
Oh, don't ever be sad.
yeah. Sometimes learning to communicate better is ugly and it hurts, and sometimes you lose relationships. Like I know like recently, I had to put up a boundary, and I may have been in the wrong, but I actually don't know because this person has not come back, and I feel bad about that. I don't feel guilty, but I feel bad about that because that's unfortunate. So see how communication can sometimes be not so good. Being upfront and honest is always the best course of action. That way there's no animosity that builds up over time. But you have to be prepared for rejection after that. And rejection is okay. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody has to like you.
Right.
It really doesn't matter who does or doesn't like you. The people who want to be in your life and that want to see your growth are going to be around.
They're going to stay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much agreed.
Or you never know. Maybe all those people will leave your life and you'll join the army, and then you'll be like me, who joins the board of TAC and makes all these new friends. And you get fulfillment by helping people all across the globe.
There's always a new chapter. There always will be.
Exactly.
As long as you keep living, as long as you keep having birthdays, there will always be new chapters.
Birthdays are awesome, but yes.
Birthdays are
exactly.
awesome. Looking ahead, what's Suzannah looking at right now? Where are we going? So what are some of the goals, dreams that you have for your time as our new secretary?
So this has nothing to do with the secretary position, but I really, really, really want to get the ambassador training course up off the ground because we have so many other courses that we want to give people. Like we talked about it in the episode with David Nix. There's other courses that we want to give you guys. We talked about having a volunteer 101, what you need to know or what you need to be prepared for if you want to volunteer for things. Public speaking, professional memo writing. These are classes that can help you if you're one of those people that you're like, hey, I'm kind of in TAC, but I have my own kindred and I want to build a HOF. Like, okay, well, you're probably going to have to talk to a mayor. You're probably going to have to talk to some local officials. Knowing professional memo writing, knowing public speaking, having these skills are going to help you. And that's what we're here for. We're here for the people. I mean, we have so many other things we want to offer, but we have to, you guys, you got to be patient with us. Thank you so much for being patient as long as you have been. We have so many good things coming, and it just takes time because there's only, how many of us? There's,
I think 7.
Yeah, there's only 7 people on the board, and we're trying to do all these things. And it's a slow process, but I assure you, every single day I am working on it. David wrote a letter about how I volunteered 321 hours in like a 5 or 6 month period so that I can get a volunteer award. That averages out to be 14 hours a week. And I'm a full-time soldier. So think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Every single day I'm doing something for TAC. And everything I do for my local community, I'm like, hey, can this be used in TAC? You guys want this? I just sent my weekly discussion slides. I sent that to Drew because I was like, hey, do you think the clergy would like this? Or do you think this is more of a community thing? Because it's a discussion. We're talking about a saga. As far as the future goes, I cannot wait to finish the ambassador program, give those free tools out to the people that need them. Whether you're starting a kindred or, building up your local group or just want to add those skills to your tool belt.
Right.
As a clergy member or as a leader or just as a person who is a solitary practitioner, you can still utilize all of those tools to run online events or to put yourself out there to other pagans. I'm so excited for that. And I'm really excited that we've gotten these regular meetings down. The Heathen Library Project is something we've talked about a few times on the podcast. And I'm super stoked for that because so many people ask for book recommendations. And it would be so awesome to just be able to be like, well, have you checked this out?
Right.
There you go. We haven't quite launched the fundraiser for that yet. We're still working on it. I'm making a video ad for that. All the education so that I can focus on the board stuff.
Yeah.
Once we get all the education done, then we can start working on training people to replace us.
And that is the goal. We're not going to be here forever.
Yes. Unfortunately for everyone on the board right now, I don't think that's going to come within the next 10 months at least.
Right. Which is fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It might be a year, it might be 2 years, but I'm here for the long haul. I'll be your host on this podcast even after I'm not a board member, just to keep it going, because I really want this podcast to grow into something where I'm interviewing TAC members about their passions, not just board members.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that would be so amazing.
Oh, and interviewing people like in TAC that definitely, like any podcast you listen to, they get somebody on that has either written a book or has some kind of influence out there. So I can see the podcast going to where the people in the community, whether they have written a book, they have some kind of influence, they have this massive following, they've done something in TAC that is, new board members come on. There's always going to be something that a podcast is going to be there for. I think this is a great beginning to this podcast. And in 10, 20 years, when we look back at this podcast and we see how young we were, and we're like, I remember I didn't have those wrinkles. That's great. But I believe it's gonna, if we keep up with it, you keep up with it, definitely it's gonna grow into something beautiful, and it already has. It's just gonna it's just like a tree, right? You get this little tree and it grows and it's beautiful and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. And then before you know it, it's this massive thing in your yard or in the forest, and you're like, wow, like I was there, I planted this thing, and now this thing it's going to outlast me. That's what a tree is. If nobody messes with it, it's going to outlast all of us. And that's how I see a lot of this podcast and a lot of the things that you do for TAC. It's going to outlast you. It's going to outlast all of us.
I hope so.
Yeah, I do too. And the way you're going with it, we're going with it. I feel like it will. I believe it. Somebody's going to pick it up and continue with it when we can't anymore. So. Yeah,
I think one day I'll have a little apprentice or something that I've already thought about it. I would bring them on as a guest, but a regular guest where we just talk about things back and forth. And then eventually it'll be my last episode.
Yeah. And then that's it. And then you'll be the guest.
And I'll be the guest that shows up just like once a quarter
just
or
a
once
random
every
guest.
6 months.
Be like, so Suzannah, you started this back in you started this 30 years ago. You're like, holy shit.
With my cane.
With my cane. No cane.
Yeah.
So you kind of already answered this, just to kind of nail it down. So if a community member wanted to get more involved, what advice would you give them? Like I said, I know you've already kind of said stuff, but...
So on our chats on the Facebook page, if you're on the Facebook page, you can go to the volunteer information chat or the podcast suggestions, episode suggestions, something like that. It has the word podcast in it. But also you can reach me at SUZANNAHE@theasatrucommunity.com. And I have to spell it out because my name is spelled weird. Suzannah E at asatrucommunity.com. Anything you have to offer, reach out. And I mean, we can make a podcast episode. We can bring you on as a guest. I would love to talk to you about anything. Another thing that I think would be really cool is to have some guests on the show that are outside of our community. But in season 1, I'm sticking to just TAC. And season 1 is 2025. Next year, I have some ideas of people I'd like to reach out to, but I still want to focus on the community and us and who we are, the voices of TAC. I've been talking to somebody, I don't want to say their name, but we've been talking about doing an episode about ancestor veneration, and I think that's really cool because we do these Meet the Board segments, but we also do those holiday segments, and then I have mini episodes every now and then of just like one tiny subject of our spiritual beliefs. And it would be really cool to get some other people on the show who aren't board members, who don't want to talk about the politics of being a board member and all that stuff, that just want to talk about the practice. What is this practice to you? What does it mean to you? How do you practice or insert your faith into your everyday life? I've been talking to some people that as they garden, they're like, oh yeah, I feel really connected to the earth, to my ancestors, to the land, and all this. Can we make an episode about that? We're not sponsored. I don't get paid to do this. I just had this thought. I do this for the young little girl that I used to be, the young pagan who didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, didn't know anything, didn't know how to learn anything. I heard some books were bad, some organizations were bad, some were good, but nobody could say the names. Nobody would say the names. Who's the good guys? Who's the bad guys? Like what makes them bad? What makes them good? Like, I don't understand. So that's why we have this podcast. This podcast it's free education. It's transparency with our board so that you know where we're coming from and what we care about. Man, when it comes down to it, we care about you. We want to help you.
Yep, that's true. I agree. That's awesome. I like the way it's the betterment of the board, but really it's about that little girl that was you back in the day that didn't have all this, and you want to make sure that the little girls out there now do have it. So that's very inspiring. That's awesome.
Yeah, but not just little girls, little boys, little everybody. Everybody who wants the information. I just want, it to be accessible to people. Yes, I agree. Yes, and it's understandable. I don't know how you do it, but you just go right into my next question. Like you already answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Because I haven't even looked at the questions. They're right here. This light on my face is from the questions, but I haven't looked at them at all. I look at them, but unless I'm like, I really can't see them.
No. So you've got into this next question again a little bit, but I'd like you to expound on it if you can. So What do you hope listeners take away from today's conversation?
I hope they can see me for who I am and just understand that, man, I do a lot of things. And if I'm slow getting back to you, or if I forget what we were talking about in the public chat, and when we go to DMs to start talking about an episode, I am so sorry if I forgot which conversation we were having. I hope people understand that I do a lot, and I don't always remember who's where, so I need reminders, for one. For two, we're still learning the right medication cocktail for my ADHD, so I feel like I'm totally blaming it on that, but it's partially that, but it's also like I'm just doing a lot. And I'm doing a lot because I have a lot to give. So sometimes certain things will be very focused, and other things it's like, hey, I have to take a break for 2 or 3 weeks here, but I will get back to you. So if I'm slow to respond, or if I forget who you are or what conversation we were having, please forgive me. That's what I hope people take away from this, other than just everything else we talked about. I hope you guys know that the ambassador training course is going to be awesome, and that we have other courses planned after that are going to be great, that are going to help you no matter where you are in your path, whether you are just starting a group or if you want to build a Hof. Like, these are things that can help you no matter where you are on this path. And just to have patience with me.
It sounds like our secretary needs a secretary.
I do. If you want to help me, yes, please. Yeah.
Reach out to Suzannah at the Asatru, Suzannah E at the Asatru
Suzannah
Community.
E, it's like my last name initial.
There you go. So if you want to be a secretary to the secretary, which she totally needs, please reach out. She will take any help she can get, I promise.
Absolutely. I think that would elevate me to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that would elevate me to vice president, and then that person would be secretary.
Do we have a vice president?
No, we don't have a vice president.
No, I mean,
but I also fulfill that role.
Do we have that role?
Technically, no, but I'm also wearing that hat.
Yeah, so you wear a lot of hats. So we need to start filling those. Yeah.
instead of like a hat that I wear, I think what it is the jester hat with their different
Yes.
their different
Like-
tails or whatever they are.
Each little bell has its own thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's me.
It's okay. We do the best to help you where we can, but you've got a lot going on. So and I notice it and I appreciate it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I don't even know how this happened.
Yeah, it's a snowball. It's a snowball effect.
I literally just volunteered to be the ambassador program director, and they were like, well, this position would be more important. And then they were like, hey, you're really talented at this. So secretary? And I was like, okay. And now I'm just like, oh, but okay.
Last question I have for you. Is there anything you'd like to share with the community, upcoming projects, which I know we've already talked about, words of encouragement or ways to get connected, which again, we've already talked about, but please reiterate those things.
You know what? I don't even have to reiterate, because right when you think I've told you everything,
Oh, shit.
there's more. So I'm trying to come up. I have a couple other committee ideas in mind, and I have some projects that I'm working on in the background. They're not things that I'm focusing on right now, but I have marked out some time in August to deliberately take time to do them. One of them is creating a merch/fundraiser team, where that committee will assist us in developing fundraisers to help our projects. Like the Heathen Library project is a huge thing that we're about to release to the public and undergo, and it's very expensive. So we may need to get creative with fundraising. And because I'm so focused on the education, I don't have time to put my brain towards that. But if you have experience fundraising or designing merch, that's something else that we were talking about doing, is setting up a shop to help us cover the operation costs and funnel extra funds into the Heathen Library project. Because it'll be a costly thing for us to set up the Heathen Library project. However, once it's open, it will be free to TAC charter members, and you can access books on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, from anywhere in the world. And that's going to be awesome. So in order to get there, I am starting to develop that merchandising/fundraising committee. And I think that will be a huge asset in moving this community forward towards getting the Heathen Library project on its feet, and also covering our operation costs without asking for donations, because I don't want to have to ask for donations for our operation costs. There's another committee I want to develop where we talk about specific problems that arise in groups like this, and developing a standard operating procedure to problem solve, and put that in an SOP booklet. I say booklet, it's probably going to be on a Google Drive. Just saying. But it's like, here's what we do in these situations. That way, so for those of you who have been with TAC for a while, you may have seen how things can get ugly online and how sometimes it's slow for us to respond as the board. And the faster you react, the better things are, because then the community feels protected and that their values are uplifted and that everybody's on the same page. However, the last couple times things have gotten to that point, that have escalated to the point where the board needed to respond. We were slow to respond, and we can do better, and we will do better. It's just going to take time for us to develop an operating procedure for these things. I'm looking to create something like that. However, I have to be very picky on who volunteers for that committee because of what it entails, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
So we are the Asatru Community. This is a community-run thing. This isn't a board and then TAC. The point of developing these committees is so that we can all build this community together.
Right.
And I think that aligns with TAC's values as being a community hub and being a place for inclusivity, and where, if you have the passion, we have a place for you. So welcome to my table.
It's got 5 cats on it, but you're welcome to the table.
Yeah, there's a cat knocking over your ale horn, but
Perfect. Well, Suzannah, thank you so much. It's been amazing. I mean, it's been 2 hours now. This has been,
I know.
That's been awesome. So you have great information, great insight. You have great future endeavors coming up. I'm excited to see how this all plays out, because I feel like you as the secretary have the overall look of what's going on. I play a small part or cog in the system. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I'm like, got it. Do it. All right. Got it. And then like eventually I'll see how it all plays out. I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like. Nice. I love that. So
Yeah.
again, I appreciate you being on your own podcast. This is amazing.
It is weird. It is weird being the one, because like I thought about putting little notes, and I said I was going to, but I'll just say whatever I'm going to say.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Just do it, and then you can edit it later.
Yeah, and some of these questions, like I wrote most of these questions, and here's the thing: I wrote them so long ago that I forgot completely what they are. And
Perfect.
I say so long ago, but when you have ADHD, that could have been yesterday. That could have been 2 months ago.
Sure.
You know?
No, I agree. Yeah, I will close this out in the beautiful Suzannah fashion of closing out the Fireside Firth. I will give it my best. All right. So have grace for me here.
I will.
Thank you for joining us on Fireside Firth. If you have questions, stories, or reflections you'd like to share, we'd love to hear from you at podcast@theasatrucommunity.com. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Check out our socials at Fireside Firth Pod or theasatrucommunity.com. Until next time, may your hearth be warm and your path guided by Firth and wisdom. Thank you, Suzannah, for being here.
Skull!
Skål!